Previously in X-Men, Jean Grey, longtime member of the X-Men, became a vessel for the cosmic entity known as the Phoenix. With her will weakened by a systematic attack by the Hellfire Club over many months, the darkest urges of the Phoenix have finally broken through Jean's mental defenses. As the power continues to corrupt her, the X-Men find themselves in the unenviable position of having to potentially destroy Jean, their dearest friend. That brings us all the way to X-Men 136, Uncanny X-Men 136, on episode 45 of our never-ending, ongoing Classic X-Men Tuesday night live stream, where we break down the comics that made the X-Men a classic. Welcome to Group of Seven Comics, previously in X-Men. I am Jason Lapidus.
I am Chris Sanagan.
And we together make comic books, talk about comic books, think about comic books, and have the good fortune of getting to hang out on Tuesday nights and do this nonsense with you all out there. If this is your first time here, welcome. We hope that you join us in the chat and share your thoughts and feelings on this issue or any other X-Men comics or movies or television shows or action figures or video games that seem to mean something to you in some way. We love X-Men. Chris here is reading X-Men for the first time. I am a bit of, I would not say an expert. I definitely wouldn't say a veteran. I just read these things as a kid, and I'm going to continue. Today, I'm in a great position. I've actually left my Classic X-Men issue downstairs. I never even got it. But I've got the OG, beautiful, original issue here. And I'm truthfully reading it in the Essential X-Men Volume 2. But I also, on occasion read it in the trade, which I picked up, I think, at BMV maybe over a decade ago on the cheap. What about you, sir? Oh, is that where my issue is?
No, it's my issue. There's your Classic X-Men, number 42, the issue in question, Uncanny 136. I have a copy of it. I don't have a copy of many X-Men comics. I actually have a copy of this, and I was so excited to read it in classic X-Men form, because what I normally do is I read these, as you will see, and we broadcast share the digital file from the original scans from the 1980s on a DVD-ROM, kids, a DVD-ROM. So it was nice to actually have that access to that, but also access to the classic X-Men as well. I mean, look at that cover.
Great cover by Stephen Lytle. I really love those graphic elements. Like if you look at Cyclops on there, he's like just black shapes and then his color. Not a lot of detail, but none needed. In Mignola fashion, one of our favorite artists, using just those really strong elements to convey what you need to convey without having to do too much detail. When Steve Lytle is on, his covers are just fantastic. I really enjoy it a lot.
This is a great cover, and as it's so much fun to look at the original covers and then compare them to the classic, to see what other kind of things get thrown their way in terms of the 10-year decade gap between the publication of those two titles. So, for this one, the Uncanny Cyclops carrying Jean, crying, what's going on? And then now we just decided, reverse, she's going to be the powerful one, and it's Xavier who's down.
Right.
No one's crying, but again, just like if you had put these two issues side by side, you'd think they were not the same issue based on the cover. They are completely role reversed. So, interesting stuff.
Totally interesting. Just quick shout outs to my buddy Dave on his 47th birthday today. Happy birthday, David. Hope you're well and hope you enjoyed it and got to do something fun and nice.
Happy birthday, David. Happy birthday.
Exactly. What else do I want to mention? Oh, that cover. Right. Usually we make a little bit of small talk, just quick. Another Dave. Look at that. Dave Pretorius, how are you, man? Dave says, hey, guys, excited for this one. One of the few older issues I actually own. I think there are many people that have at least own a comic book that connects to this cover in some way. So I wanted just to start with the cover of the original here. Starting here, just throwing out that sweet, sweet magenta.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that, man. I mean, this is such a great color job. Everyone stands out really clearly. Every character works really well against that magenta. The title logo and the yellow and blue, like perfect choice. Really, really works exceptionally well, I think, as like a full composition. I know Dave is a colorist. I love coloring. I don't know if I would consider myself a colorist this season, but we'll talk. We'll talk in the future. I think it's a beautiful cover, and it's a widely homaged image. So there's a lot of conversation about, what came first, this or the famous Crisis on Infinite Earth, Superman holding Supergirl.
Right.
And you think about, okay, well, what's the years? Well, Crisis is like 1985. This is 1980. Exactly. So there's no question, obviously, this one comes long before Crisis on Infinite Earths. But let us take another look at some other things. Okay, hold on now. Are you ready for this?
Always.
I'm gonna share a tab with y'all.
We're
gonna take a quick look. These are some images here. So you see this Thor on the right?
Yes.
The Hammer and the Holocaust. So this is one that is probably the third cover ever to take this idea of one character holding another corpse or unconscious character. This is obviously Odin holding Thor. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty famous one. This I don't have a bigger one here, but this Clark or Superman holding Lois Lane is an early example as well.
Yeah.
But I would imagine that John Byrne, being the Kirby fan he is, would have seen that Thor. The other really famous version of this, right there, Robin Dies at Dawn, and Byrne is known as a big, huge Silver Age Batman fan. So, and of course, this kind of image is also used throughout art and history. I mean, it's a classic thing. So I don't think there's much of a fuss, like saying, Byrne invented something, nor is he homaging anything else specifically. It's just I think it's a common trope when there's, some kind of big event happening. But you can see how many covers have like aped this very intentionally. You get your... Anyway, all sorts of covers are doing this one, and some better than others. But there's the Crisis on Infinite Earths one, which is a classic cover unto itself. I'm curious about this one by Paul Smith. That's neat looking too. Anyway, lots to go over there. But enough of that.
Wow.
Now let's take a look, if you don't mind, at this.
Ooh. Oh, that's from your book?
Oh, hello there, book. Hello there, Kevin from Toying Around. Hope you're well, man. Thank you again for joining us on the live stream last week, or joining me, I should say. You were great company, and man, those voices can't be beat. Nothing we can do to beat that, Kev. So thank you again for that. It was so much fun. So this here is an artist edition of Marvel covers from the 70s and 80s, and it contains maybe about 5 or 6 John Byrne from X-Men, including this one from 136. And you can see a couple of things of note. Firstly, this. I don't know if you can tell what that is. That is Dr. McCoy from Star Trek.
Okay.
Saying, "She's dead, Jim." Jim being, of course, Jim Shooter, the editor. And there was some major debate going on between the creatives on X-Men and Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief. I don't want to go into it too much yet because it hasn't played out in the series yet. But basically, to just set it up, the crimes that Jean committed in the last issue of destroying an entire solar system and all the inhabitants living within, and destroying that like elite vessel from the Shi'ar Empire, those two crimes, like galactic crimes, against life, we could even say. Jim Shooter, the editor, felt that they are not crimes that one can atone for. she's beyond atonement when she commits that act.
Hmm.
So Jim Shooter was basically telling them that we need her dead. Like she has to pay for it. And Claremont and Byrne were not on that page yet.
Because they're like, it's a comic book, Jim.
Exactly. So I would imagine that Byrne drew this in at a much later date when he like sells this to somebody. Maybe it was drawn on there initially. But it's really cute. You know, they're Star Trek fans. We've come across that before in the series. Other thing of note on this cover is this effect, right? This is like that generation later of Kirby Crackle that Byrne, I wouldn't say invents, but this is sort of like his iteration of Kirby Crackle, that energy that flows.
Mm-hmm.
And that's done probably in pencil, or what's commonly known as grease pencil.
Yes.
Sometimes also called Chinese marker. But it's basically a wax pencil. And so, yeah, you'll see from our friend and, great Canadian cartoonist Scott Chandler, when Scott is transitioning something, like if a character is carrying a torch in the woods, you'll see like the white sphere around the torch, and the edge of the white sphere, he uses this grease pencil to fade it to black. And it works really well in print because it doesn't come out all spotty. It just kind of has a bit of a gradient to it. So you'll see that technique used by a lot of cartoonists, including here, Byrne and Austin. Just friggin' awesome cover. I don't know. I think it's beautiful.
It's great.
Yeah, really dynamic.
Cool.
Anyway, always need to see the original art and to see just what a perfect job Terry Austin does of drawing these figures or inking in, over John Byrne's pencils. Boy, oh boy. Boo-hoo. I love it. I could cry.
Mm-hmm.
Get that stuff. How's your week?
It's been okay.
Everything okay?
It's been fine. It's been recovering from some sickness, and then back to work, and then prepping for this upcoming weekend, which is a big one for you.
Wow, what's happening this weekend, buddy?
Well, we're taking our lovely selves on the road and to another country.
Yep.
A country called America.
We are going to America.
Canada. We're coming down from Canada to Small Press Expo in Bethesda, Maryland, just outside of Washington.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be there Saturday and Sunday at this really cool indie comics festival, which
it's going to be awesome.
It's the first one they've had in person in 3 years, and by all accounts, everyone's incredibly jazzed for it to be back. And we've heard favorable comparisons between Small Press Expo and one of our beloved shows, the Toronto Comic Arts Festival up here in Toronto. And so because of that, we're excited to go down. We got a friend going with us as well. We're traveling with a spare hand who's also a comics creator, Ricky Lima. So we can't wait to go on that adventure for 4 days this weekend. Yeah. So
we've got a 9-hour-ish road trip on Friday, which we get to share company, and we're gonna have a great time going down to Washington. I can't wait for it. It's super exciting for us to meet other creators and see what people are making in the States, and who also is coming from wherever. Like, let's see where people come from to be at that event.
I was doing some sleuthing
to America.
Doing some sleuthing on the socials today and looking at some of the other guests and the tables and things and the creators, and people from Oregon and people from Minnesota, people from Chicago. Minnesota.
That's outrageous.
Minnesota. New York and everywhere. Yep. So we're just, we're not the only Canadians. So there's a few other people there too. So anyway, we're psyched.
It's going to be a blast. Hey, Trevor, 1-6 Shooter. How are you doing, man? Hope you're well. I bet you have this issue, don't you? I bet you've got this one. Chris, do you notice something about the title, the heading, Uncanny X-Men?
You mean the fracturing of the lettering? Like it's been under pressure?
Do you know where that comes from?
The pressure?
Yeah, the pressure.
Is it just because it's foreshadowing like a disintegration?
No, it's from the last issue where Jean grabbed it. See that?
Of course she did.
It's like the
And so it's
consequence.
kind of healed itself a bit.
Yes, it's put itself back together.
That's kind of cool. Someone took
issue.
some plaster and like fixed the drywall a bit. That's cool.
Oh, look at that. Look at this. If you want to stop over to Long Island on the way back, I have guest rooms and a cool toy room. Oh man, that's so kind. That's a great invitation. We are not going that route though, and I think we're leaving Monday morning, aren't we?
Yeah.
So we're staying over again Sunday night in Maryland, and then after the festival, and then we'll head back Monday and just drive. We're driving through Pennsylvania.
So,
but thank you, Trevor. Next time we have to go into New York at some point.
Yeah, we really do
for comics, and we got to cross paths at some point, Trevor.
Yes.
For sure.
So, okay, I was watching The Simpsons today with my kids. Watching the kids. Episode, I'm going to say this because it actually mentioned Bethesda, Maryland.
Thank you.
Episode with Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger and Ron Howard.
Ron Howard, yeah.
Ron Howard, drunk Ron Howard. And Homer's asking them why they're in Springfield. And Alec and Kim are talking about how phony LA is. And they say, LA is just too phony. And Homer then goes, Bethesda? And he goes, not phony enough. So there you go. There's the Bethesda joke from The Simpsons. Tonight. There you go. It meant to be. I was meant to watch that episode. Clearly.
I've also been watching lots of Simpsons with my kids, kind of as a end of the night thing.
Yeah.
Some nice quiet time with Dad. Now that I'm not like burning the candle at both ends, working on pages.
Sure.
They're like, oh, they've got Dad back. Let's sit on the couch with Dad and watch some Simpsons. So we've been we're plowing through season 5 right now, and It's so much fun.
Nice.
So much fun. I think one of the last ones we watched was when they got the swimming pool and Bart breaks his leg.
Oh, mirror.
Yes, and it all ends with Martin with no bottoms, this collapsed pool and the summer
like
wind.
the king of his pool, and then it's what is it?
Great.
The cold chill on his
whatever the line was just
line is.
Yeah, really good stuff. Anyway,
good stuff.
X-Men 136.
Should we get into it?
Came out in May of 1980. Where were you in May of 1980, Chris Sanagan?
I was being born.
Damn right you were.
May 1980 is a special month because Uncanny X-Men comes out 136.
This is your issue.
This guy also comes out. Shows up on this planet.
We got to get you a copy of this one. This is like the special Chris Sanagan birth issue. Because that's a thing.
So many fluids. It was exactly. This is an artist's depiction of my birth. Cyclops holding me as a baby. Yeah.
Terrible. Just terrible.
Terrible.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to kick this one out of the stream here. Hold on. The other one.
You're kicking You're kicking someone out of the stream.
I'm kicking my other camera out of the stream. Doesn't need to be.
Get out of here, you extra camera.
Get out of there.
All right.
Child of Light and Darkness, the final phase of the Phoenix. Man, so we've talked about this before. We've talked about X-Men: The Last Stand, right? The third Bryan Singer X-Men movie.
Yes.
We've talked about the animated series and how they kind of do a really quick glossing over of the Dark Phoenix saga. We've talked about the movie Dark Phoenix.
Sure, yeah.
And in each of those iterations, there's like a moment where the X-Men, before things go to their final phase, they have like a moment where they can go this way or that way, if they can possibly bring Jean back.
Mm-hmm.
I think about that in the movie X-Men: The Last Stand. I think about the scene at Jean's house.
Oh, is that with Xavier?
Spoilers, yes.
Gotcha.
That is where Jean kills Xavier. Magneto is there, and then Juggernaut and I've already forgotten who face off against Storm and Wolverine.
That's right.
Yeah. And yeah, it's a thing. But anyway, this feels like it's kind of like that moment, you know, where there's like a chance to maybe get her back, to talk her down. And of course, in this issue, we will venture. Well, we'll see where we go. Let's dive into this and see what happens.
Okay, here we go.
Beautiful. Again, that magenta. Just
look at that.
So cool.
So cool.
Yeah, really great job from colorist Glennis Ween, who of course is Len Ween's wife.
Right.
Yeah, we get the co-plotters. You know, I love how they over the months of, you know, this writer, co-plotters, penciler credit for Chris Claremont and John Byrne. By the way, I just friended Chris Claremont on Facebook. Oh, yeah. I don't know if he accepted it or not, or if he ever will, but it's just kind of a funny act to partake in, because yeah, just the idea that these people are within reach.
He'll be on the show at some point.
Oh, sure. Adorable.
Come on the show. What I like so much about this page too is it's really just the graphic. It's the it's the image. We don't have, you know, a lot of these first pages have a ton of exposition, and you know, a lot of Claremont pieces like that. And this is just it's just the title and this great image.
Oh yeah, and of course it's not meant to be taken literally. Like, you know, this is a character who is not that scale, but it kind of is. Like, their power level is, right? Like toying with the galaxy. Beautiful stuff.
Totally.
Neat to see. And it's not normal for us to see like abstract or things that are ambiguous in an X-Men comic at this period. All right. The Imperial Center. Ruling seat of a galactic empire located halfway across the known universe from Earth. Now, already I have to like interrupt, and I'm just thinking about other movies that have things happening on a galactic imperial scale.
Okay.
So things like the throne room of the Galactic Republic in Star Wars, or like not the Senate. If you've ever watched any version of Dune, like when you get these emperor figures, like the scope of like the spaces they're in, they're just massive. And I feel like maybe it's a bit of a missed opportunity for Byrne to just Mobius up this shit and give us some incredibly dynamic scale, where we get the sense that this is a person ruling over a vast territory because their throne room is vast, or the hall they're walking in is vast, or something. But this feels like people just entering, like, you know, a Pizza Hut. It's not that interesting looking. You get a few squiggly lines here and there, and, you know, a neat hologram, but this isn't so much a massive space.
And even the designs of the creatures, or the Galactic Senate, or whatever, the it seems weird. I don't know.
It just isn't as massive.
Yeah, you're right.
As the White House,
right,
on the, you know, corresponding page. So I would have loved that one change, but other than that, I'm down. Yes. So here we go.
Okay. I'll hear the first.
Are you going Admiral Akbar on this dude, or like what are you doing?
See, my friends.
That's what I was gonna do.
See, my friends. The Phoenix entity approaches the home world. Saw 3 Earth.
Fellow ministers, rise and hail Elandra, Magistrix Shi'ar. Thank you, Araki. Honorable beings, we now face a threat, the like of which the Shi'ar Empire, indeed the entire universe, has never known. Beside it, even Galactus may pale to insignificance. To feed his infernal hunger, he consumes worlds. To feed hers, Phoenix may consume all that exists. I cannot pronounce this word.
What's this guy's name?
Tuoxenhamen. Begin the briefing.
Upon arrival in Imperial space, as all contain this hologram field, the Phoenix entity plunged into the heart of the body. A main sequence 6 type star. In a matter of seconds, she advanced to supernova stage. The resultant stellar explosion destroyed not only Dabari, but its inhabitant. Like, is this like the screen? Like the AI?
I think it's still him. Okay. Just we're looking on the other screen. I'm not sure.
The resultant stellar explosion destroyed not only Dabari, but its inhabited planets as well. After leaving Dabari, Phoenix was intercepted by our newest, most powerful battle cruiser. The ship attacked and was destroyed as quickly, as easily, as completely as a star. That's terrible.
Is that as exhausting as it seems?
What's that?
It sounds like that was exhausting.
It is not easy, and I don't know. You're right. I love how we both were like, it's clear it got to be Akbar.
Oh, were you thinking the same thing?
Yeah, I was trying. Yeah, I was definitely. Oh yeah.
Well, I didn't realize from before I mentioned it that you had thought of that. So that's hilarious.
Whatever. I don't know.
When I first met Phoenix, she was a Terran female named Jean Grey. And is this word pronounced beneficent, as in like maleficent, but the other way?
I think so.
She's a beneficent entity. She and her fellow X-Men helped stop my mad brother from unleashing Armageddon. Okay, quick side note. I had this friend, and back in high school when the movie came out, or just after high school, I think when the movie came out, his mom was talking to him, and she's like, "Are you going to go see that new movie?" He's like, "What movie, Mom?" Armageddon? He's like, "What movie?" She's like, "I don't know, Armageddon?" "Mom, do you mean Armageddon?" "I don't know. I think it's called Armageddon." So ever since then, I only hear the word Armageddon, which is really cool.
I love it. It should just be called Armageddon. Yeah.
Now, it seems the child is beneficent no longer.
There's that word again.
Yep, he loves vocabulary, which I appreciate, truthfully. I fear as well that she means to pick off where my brother left off, way back in X-Men's 107 and 108, which, of course, we covered in 2 earlier episodes. Ministers, if the Empire, if the universe is to survive, Phoenix must be destroyed. Oh my God. Trevor says, I'm putting the phrase Mobius up that shit into regular rotation.
Yes.
So if you haven't seen, anyone out there has not seen the art by the legendary genius Mobius, which of course is a pseudonym. I think his name was Jean Girard, or Jean Girard, the other driver in Talladega Nights.
Yeah, Jean Girard is played by Sacha Baron Cohen.
Okay, so someone in the chat help me out. I can't remember what his real name was, but something like that. Mobius is an artist, kind of without no peer. An artist without peer. He's his work in detail and scale, and the acting of the characters is just it's legendary. And he's one artist I have not collected any of his work yet because I'm too scared to. I feel that his work will destroy me.
But we all know we know in here. I'm glad you explained that. But yes, Mobius up that is legitimately something we'd like to see.
Oh yeah, for sure. At that moment on Earth, in a mansion known throughout the world.
So I've got a inkling to try to do my Jimmy Cotta.
Okay.
So
I'm all for it. So I will bounce. I'll do the other ones.
Okay.
Mr. President, it's the same energy matrix that StarCorps monitored earlier. Actually, it is earlier this evening. Pardon me. I thought it was a period in my print here. Earlier this evening. Only now it's far more powerful and heading straight for Earth.
Thank you, Dr. Carbo. Joel, get me the Avengers.
Who is Joel? I love
Joel
it.
Is his executive assistant.
Sure he is. I love it. Just some guy named Joel.
Yeah.
See, Jean Giraud, not Jean Girard. Okay, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.
Easily confused.
Yes, but I would love it if I continued to mix those up. And for the rest of my life, thought that the race car, the Formula driver in Talladega Nights was the amazing, legendary artist Mobius. And in New York, goodness gracious, that's a special alert. Only the president can activate it, and only then in times of the gravest danger. I've never heard it sounded in earnest. I pray this is only another test.
Mr. Jarvis, I understood that an Avenger was always supposed to be on a monitor duty. I've been calling for some time without response. An energy force of unknown origins, but considerable power is approaching Earth. Is this some extraterrestrial attack? I want the Avengers ready to deal with it.
Yes, sir. I'll assemble them at once. After the transmission ends, Master Beast was on monitor duty. There's no sign of a struggle, so I doubt he was kidnapped. But no message from him either. I think he would say either.
That's my dog going.
What is that, Bijou? What happened to him? Where could he have gone?
By the way, we wondered who Joel was. Joel was that dude in the shades. Like badass.
Maybe. That might be Henry Gyrich or Gyrick.
Who's that?
Well, you'll have to find out.
Okay. Avengers. All right.
It's so funny that like some accents get written in type, like get written in the script, and some accents don't.
Love it.
But this felt like it was one of the only comics that dove hard back in 1980 into really pulling out these accents for fun.
Totally.
Yeah. Everything okay with Bijou?
Oh yeah, she's okay.
Being a dog. That's
being
okay.
A dog.
I also love to think that like someone just tuned in and they hear you doing your Admiral Akbar and they hear you doing Jimmy Carter and they're like, what is this show?
What are we even listening to?
What are we listening to? This is bonkers. Answer the Beast.
That's right.
Answering Cyclops' secret call for help has returned to his old alma mater, Professor Charles Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters, secret home and headquarters of the Uncanny X-Men.
Gently does it.
Okay, before we go farther, did you watch the trailer for Black Adam?
Yes, I did.
Were they in...
This is a bit of a tangent.
Were they in the X-Mansion there? Like, what? Can they really have a scene where they show a beautiful landscape with a mansion on it where the backyard opens up and a jet comes out and have audiences who have seen movies before not go, oh, the X-Men. Like,
right.
I thought that was one of the most unoriginal choices they could have possibly come up with. And then to put it, forward in your trailer to be like, oh, we're ripping off the X-Men. And we're also going to call ourselves, Justice Society, which the audience generally has never heard of before.
Yeah.
It's a deep cut.
It is.
It just felt like the most unoriginal, uninspired trailer I have ever seen. And I'm on board for all of it, but anyway,
yeah, I mean, certainly the British, the elite British intellectual type talking about leading a mission and then having his manor estate or whatever we assume to be his estate also be the secret headquarters and airplane hangar of a supersonic jet was a bit on the nose.
Oh yeah, a little derivative. Before he joined the Avengers, Hank McCoy was a charter member of this mutant team. Tonight, he discovered that old loyalties die very hard.
By George, I've got it.
Got what, Hank?
Your basic mnemonic scrambler. Slap this on Jeannie's head and she shouldn't be able to think a coherent thought, much less read minds or throw telekinetic force bolts.
Good work, Beast.
I've never heard such pain in Cyclops' voice. Soon now he'll have to fight the woman he loves, perhaps to the death. That knowledge is eating him up inside. Scott,
Just a sec, Storm. And this is another example of, like a comic that is for a first-time reader of the series, right? These things come in all the time. So we give them a pass. I can't open my eyes, even the tiniest fraction, until I've put on my special ruby quartz glasses, or my optic blast should punch a truck-sized hole in the wall. I've had to be this careful since before I joined the X-Men. I'll have to stay this careful till the day I die. Aurora wants to help me, to comfort me. But I can't give in, not yet. If I give full rein to my feelings, I'll shatter. For Jean's sake, as much as everyone else's, I have to stay strong, in control. Meanwhile, Trevor says, it looks like another blockbuster for DC, giant eye roll. The Rock is quite the draw, but I never know how things are going to play out in the box office. I just know that if I miss the whole movie, I think I already got it.
Right. Certainly, I mean, you and I will we'll talk about it because we always talk about these things. There's so many thoughts I have just on it in terms of what we've seen footage wise and why and what kind of non-story is there. Like I don't. But you're right. It's they're drawing. It's the Rock as a big tough guy.
Yeah,
and that's the draw.
And part of it is just like watching people underestimate how strong he is, and then him showing the audience and the antagonist how strong he is.
Sure.
And it's just a series of scenes like that. Then eventually there'll be a villain that everyone has to fight together.
Oh, of course. You can already see the trailer. It's already there.
Yeah. So it might be one that I wait for on some sort of streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, or if I go see it, maybe I'll have dinner and a drink first.
Mm-hmm.
And not worry if I fall asleep. Anyway, meanwhile, in the mansion's danger room, the rest of the X-Men work out with a machine whose blades whirl about the room at varying heights and deadly speed.
I avoided being crushed by teleporting onto one of the blades and riding it. But you must stop the super spinner Colossus before its spinning blades crush both you and Wolverine.
I am trying to, Nightcrawler.
No good, my friend. You didn't stop the spanner. You only broke off one of its arms.
That was my intention, Torvarish. Watch. All night we three have been forced to wait while Cyclops, Storm, and the Beast worked in the laboratory. In my mind, I understand that we are not the brains of the X-Men, that there is nothing we can do to help right now. But in my heart, I am seething. My patience is almost gone. Thus waiting is driving me mad. There, Wolverine, I have smashed the spanner's motor.
Beautiful, Petey. All I have to do is extend my retractable, unbreakable adamantium claws. Jam the gears and bingo! Another big, bad danger room contraption bites the dust.
I thought the workout would make me feel better. It is not.
I know what you mean, pal. Jeannie is special to me, too. I'm worried about her, but what may happen in the next few hours. She trashed us once. She'll probably do it again, but that don't mean we give up.
She is our friend, Peter. More than our friend, come what may. We must fight to save her.
I'm not sure I understand the expression on Colossus's face, by the way.
Oh, I know.
It doesn't seem like it's kind of connected to the script. Like he's kind of grimacing, kind of smiling, like I'm not sure what he's thinking there.
I hate when my solid organic steel freezes in this pose. Yeah. So I want to say, just thinking of the Wolverine and Colossus piece. While I was away in the past week recovering, I ended up watching the Hit Monkey series on which is now on Disney Plus, but was on, I guess, Stars or Hulu or whatever it was down in the States.
Yeah.
10 episodes, Assassin Monkey animated, all that kind of stuff. They make reference to a fastball special.
Very nice.
There's the last episode, not to ruin too much for anyone, but the last episode features superhero characters from Japan, from that part of the world. One's names you will be familiar with if you're familiar with comic books, and he is a smaller one. The monkey's obviously small, and there's a bigger person, and at one point the words fastball special are uttered, and that's what happens.
Very cool.
I thought it was kind of to connect that to. I thought that was kind of something that like this seemingly is this kind of standalone Marvel animated property, but they find a way to work in some of these Marvel tropes that we have come to love.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. So connecting this 2 times now. So we've got. I'm just going to read the opening bit of narration, and then I'll pause for a second. Okay. Annandale on the Hudson, New York. A sleepy little college hamlet, some 50 miles, as the proverbial crow flies, northwest of the X-Men's mansion headquarters. This house on Annandale Road is where Jean Grey was born, where she grew up. She left here years ago to become the X-Men Marvel Girl. She returns as Dark Phoenix. For a time, the young goddess stands, unmoving in the front yard, wondering why she came back here. We're going to pause. Two things. I want to read Trevor's comments. He says, imagine having to recite this kind of exposition for everything you did. Before I go outside, I'll have to put on my air cushion sneakers with orthopedic inserts, lest my arthritis flares up and I'm crippled with pain for days. This is what I say every time I put on my shoes. This is exactly, that's very apt of you to point that out. So thanks for the painful reminder, both emotionally and physically. So thank you, Trevor. In X-Men 3 or X-Men The Last Stand, she does return home in that sort of midpoint scene where, like I said, there was a confrontation between the Brotherhood and the X-Men for the soul of Jean Grey, and for the future to see how it's going to play out. At the same time, there is a scene in Dark Phoenix, which is the fourth film in the second iteration of X-Men movies, right? First being First Class, then Days of Future Past, then Apocalypse, then Dark Phoenix. There's a scene where she does return home to confront her father, to tell her father she is still alive, and to kind of find out what the deal with him is. And he basically says, like, there's something terrible, and you like get out. You killed me. Like, I had to live without your mother, who was the greatest thing, and you're the problem. And when she goes outside, she has to confront the X-Men. They're waiting for her, right? So like that idea of the going to the house is a reoccurring thing in all three versions of this narrative.
Wow.
This moment of peace where we kind of see both sides of it. For instance, you don't know which way it's going to go, except for there's that sense of dread that we all know where it's going to go. So then there's a nice creak of what might be
it's a creepy
door, side door. I don't know. Maybe it's the front door, actually.
Look at that. Like, creep. Look at her, the way she's standing in that door.
It's ominous, right?
It super is.
The look, the smell, the feel of everything is familiar, unchanged, and yet these memories and experiences now seem to belong to someone else. This is Jean Grey's home, not Dark Phoenix's. Jean Grey is a gentle, loving woman who cared so much for those she loved that she defied death itself to save them. Phoenix is a destroyer of worlds who cares only for herself. Yet Jean Grey is Dark Phoenix. This is interesting. It is kind of a neat situation, and I wonder if it's like, is Chris Claremont trying to come up with fun things to do in a superhero comic, or is Chris exploring an interesting idea through superhero comics? And part of me thinks it's the former. That he's like, what can we do to the X-Men to make this an interesting series that I get to keep writing, that I can care about and I can invest in, as opposed to him like thinking, I have these grand themes I want to explore and I'm going to use the X-Men as a vessel.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a really good question because of how much people have imprinted on the journey of the X-Men in their personal lives, in terms of being an outcast or an outsider or those kinds of things, right? And that's being a very legitimate narrative of fans of the series,
right?
But at the same time, like, how much is that actually is by design or deliberate, wherein perhaps, just to what you're saying, there's actually I can use certain devices to tell much more of a fun story.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like to lose sight, or I should say, I like to keep sight of the fact that these are professionals working in a field that was not held in high regard. And their job was to put out a monthly periodical that was basically meant to go in the garbage because recycling was not a program yet.
Right.
So they weren't meant to be collectibles. They weren't intended for that. They became that, but it wasn't the intention. It was just meant to be this monthly periodical to keep young readers on the hook at the newsstand. And that's the job these guys sign up for. They turn it into something much greater. Obviously, like, this should not be thrown out. This is incredible work by the craftspeople involved. But I think we give these guys a lot of credit, and we laud a lot of praise upon Claremont for his for these sort of grand visions. But I don't lose sight of the fact, that is a monthly comic. They're trying to make sure they have something to write about every month.
Mm-hmm.
So, interesting.
For sure.
Anyway, I think that's sort of the fun of it, is like even within the boundary of something where you're basically writing something disposable, can you sneak in something awesome? A little bit of this or that. I think about those Beatles pop tunes too, like, Please Please Me, a 2-minute song, or it's like a minute 59, and every note is just like such great harmony, and but they're just trying to get a #1 hit, or just trying to make it on the charts to be able to pay for the tour bus, or whatever it is, pay for.
I think
beer.
Like anything, it's probably a bit of both, and one influences the other, or one happens thinking that it could be something bigger, and it ends up being something bigger because their instincts are right.
Yeah, that's a good point. Trevor says that whole right-hand page is so quintessential Byrne. Yeah, there's so many pieces of his drawing that you see like over the years, like the face, the warm face on Jean as she greets her dad, and the downward turned face, the scenery, and his choice of the pacing of it is very John Byrne. Like, we see this kind of thing a lot. You could find this page in Alpha Flight or in FF.
I was gonna say very much.
Years.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna try and get us back to here we go.
Okay.
She was once all that is great in humanity. She has become all that is terrible.
Which one do you want to read?
Well, I'm gonna double you on Dark Phoenix anyway. So I'll go with that. That's fine. Okay. Who's there?
Would you believe the Wicked Witch of the West?
Hey, that voice. It can't be. Some two dudes. Jean? This is fantastic. My goodness, girl. We haven't heard from you in weeks. Why didn't you write or call?
Oh, no, please, no. My telepathic power is so sensitive. I can't block out Dad's thoughts. He's an open book to me. Nothing secret. Oh, geez, nothing secret.
Oh, geez. As Mom does up her wardrobe, nothing sacred anymore.
Elaine, Sarah, come downstairs. Look who's here.
Hiya, little sister. Long time no see. Wow, Mom wasn't kidding. Jean, you have changed. It's wonderful to see you, dear. It's the same with Mom and Sarah, too. I can't help but read their minds.
I was in the neighborhood. I thought I'd drop in.
That costume, it's true. Then what Mom told me, you are some kind of superhero? You look thin, Jean. Are you eating enough?
I'm fine, Mom.
I'm not fine. Get out of my mind, all of you. Get out. Get out. I never should have come here. I can read Mom's love for me, her concern, but beneath that, on a primal level, buried so deeply, she probably isn't even aware the feeling exists. She's scared of me.
It's awfully late for an impromptu visit, Jean. Is anything wrong?
Dad's worried about me, but he's as edgy as Mom. And Sarah's terrified. She has 2 kids. She knows now that I'm a mutant. She's wondering if they're mutants too, if they'll turn out like me. Well, what's so wrong with that? I am Dark Phoenix. I am power incarnate. I hold the fate of the universe in my hands. Look how creepy she looks there.
Totally. And like the transformation from the top panel to the bottom panel, like there's a whole story there.
Oh,
Yeah. I also really like how, I guess, the choice around her mouth, there's almost like vampire fangs. Like, it's really interesting.
And she almost gets like eyeliner. I go the darker around the
This is also reminding me, of course, of Smeagol, right?
Yeah,
back and forth.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Just quick side: are you watching Rings of Power or Ring of Power?
I am.
Beautiful looking show, huh?
So that is my primary takeaway at the moment. I think it's the most production-wise show and cinematography. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. We'll talk about that later. But
on our other YouTube show, Lord of the Rings. All right, we got hot takes.
Ew! What is that? Go back.
It's a.
What the hell?
Put your finger in his mouth and see what happens when you squeeze him.
You'll go bats for Gregory.
Gregory. Why does the bat have a name?
Why is his name Gregory?
Gregory.
It's like Gregory.
Yes,
right?
Gregory, exactly.
He's big, he's fearsome, but most of all, or best of all, he's fun.
He's fun, Gregory. The big bad vampire bat. He's waiting for you at your toy store.
That front piece is so gross.
Yeah, that's gross.
Wow. I'm just now looking at the other the vinyl figures there. Why do they all have their arms up in the air?
Brand new soft vinyl. Yeah.
Of your favorites, because you know everyone's favorites. Here we go. Spider-Man, Red Skull,
The Thing, and no pants. Doctor Strange.
I dig on the Spider-Man thing and Doctor Strange, but Red Skull is someone's favorite.
Red Skull is somebody's favorite.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Gregory. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Okay. Can't help myself. Don't want to anymore. I'm reacting to their thoughts, not their words. You fear me, all of you, and with good reason. Why I do to this planet, I guess.
Yes.
I can just as easily
do to you. Good grief.
She turned it into crystal. It's worth more money now. Thank you, Gene.
The dad's like, good grief.
I know, right? Like Charlie Browning this shit up.
Who are you? What are you? In heaven's name, what do you want from us?
I am what I am. I was your daughter.
No, you're not mine. Not any part of me. I deny you. I cast you out.
I love, by the way, we've now gone to the trope or the dad, the high-strung, maybe conservative dad who's like, I'm casting you out of this house. Pour me a scotch. Right? And then the mom's always like, honey, no. He's like, damn it, Wilma. She's no longer part of this house.
I have not seen another panel from Byrne where he has a face in the foreground like that. That's not a usual drawing for me. It looks great. It works. It reads fine. I just have not seen a lot of panels from him that way. I'm going to have to keep my eye out for it in the future.
Mm-hmm. Dad, no, please. Watch your tone with me, old man. You dance with death. And worse than that fog.
That fog.
Where did it come from? It's not natural. The locale and season are all wrong for this kind of pea super. Storm is a weather witch. This is probably her doing. Strange, though, I can't spot her or any of the other X-Men telepathically.
So to get this fog effect there on the left, that is using laying down screen tone. So that using this sticker and then an X-Acto knife to cut out shapes.
It makes it look like winter.
It's pretty intense,
right? Like we suddenly, I know the pea soup, and the pea soup they've gone back to a few times. Ever since the Proteus issues, I think they used the term pea soup 4 times in there. So it's a favorite of Claremont for sure.
And this is the second time we've heard the phrase "weather witch," which it'll never end.
Never end.
Trevor says Mr. Gray is cosplaying as Doctor Strange.
That's right. Damn it.
Surprise, Liebchen. I'm sorry, truly sorry. Things must turn out this way. But as the saying goes, it's for your own good.
That is a tough teleport move. To land on her in flight.
In midair. That's and maybe hopefully it's the idea we keep seeing him grow, right? And as he keeps exploring new aspects of his power. But that sounds like part of the plan is to teleport to make that teleport jump and put the thing on her head on the cosmic entity. That's a hard call for Kurt.
That's right. And so she can't sense them, which is pretty neat.
Yeah.
But yeah, to get her by surprise and take her down. They're not playing nice.
No.
They're coming in hot. Not like in the movies where again they give her a chance. This is we're coming to take you down.
Exactly.
Yeah, intense.
Nightcrawler teleported on top of me. No chance to stop him. Some energy field, some device hid him from my telepathic scan. If you must feel sorry for anyone, Misfit, feel sorry for yourself. For you and your fellow X-Men will be the ones to suffer tonight. Whoops. Relax your body, Nightcrawler. I'll catch you. Danke, Beast. I hope that mind scrambler of yours works. Otherwise... You were saying, Fuzzy? That scream, it's hurting her. Says, my mind is on fire. Can't concentrate. Can't use psi powers. Do not fight this, Phoenix. The harder you struggle, the more you will be in pain. Surrender, Colossus, to the likes of you? Never. This accursed diadem may limit my powers. It may even cripple me. But I'm still far from helpless. Oof. Here we go.
Do you want me to read Storm?
Yeah, go for it.
She won't yield. No more than any of us would, were our positions reversed. Evil though Dark Phoenix is, she is still Jean Grey with all of Jean's strength and courage. That's a great drawing of Storm, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, really cool pose.
You are closer to me than my own sister, Storm. Yet I won't hesitate to strike you down.
I don't want this, Jean. None of us do. In the name of love we share, let us help you.
In the name of the love we share, Aurora, I will weep over your grave. Temper, Carrot Top. Beast. We're running out of time. My scrambler's diadem's glowing. Jean's fighting its effects, drawing on more and more raw power. She's burning it out. And then we get this page, which is like, right? This is the page that's, a few times we've seen it now, or we've seen it on screen in the last day.
Yeah, I love it. Hold her off balance for a moment longer, bub, and I'll settle this fracas. The only way it can be settled.
Wolverine, what are you doing?
Everyone else is holding back. They keep thinking of Dark Phoenix's genie. They're trying to capture her without hurting her any more than they will have to. But that won't work. Even with the beasts, Framistat chopping her power. She's still too strong for us. And getting stronger all the time. I got no choice. I gotta end this now, permanently. Forgive me, darling.
Do it, Wolverine. Strike while the human part of me is still in control. Finish me with your claws. I beg you. I don't want to hurt you.
For an instant, Jean was back. I couldn't.
What a pity, Hank. I've overloaded your precious scrambler. This was an admirable ploy, X-Men.
Oh, poor Wolverine. He had a chance. Didn't do it.
He had a chance.
Bubble Yum.
Yeah.
So good. I love that gum for the first 60 seconds.
Oh, yeah, right? I mean, classic.
Well, there was Bubble Yum and Hubba Bubba.
Mm-hmm.
I
soft and juicy.
Yep.
But a ploy that failed.
With a thought, she freezes the 5 of them where they stand, instantly transforming them into living statues. With a second thought, she telekinetically disperses Storm's fog.
There. That's better. But now that
Now
I
that
have
you,
you, whatever am
wherever
I
am
going
I going
to
to
do
do
with
with you?
Jean, is there anything human remaining within you? There isn't.
Isn't.
Hear me. Remember what you were, what you meant to us, and we to you. Hush, Colossus. Your appeal is heard and denied. Any last thoughts, little brother, before final sentence is passed?
One sec. I am trying to figure out why I can still hear this, even though there's no window open. Like,
The echo?
well, the app is closed.
Oh,
I don't know why it was still okay. I fixed it. Never mind.
okay.
Little brother. Oh my goodness.
I know.
Stop it, Gene.
Cyclops. I was wondering when you
turn up.
Have you come to fight?
fight?
I hope
I
so.
hope so. I came to talk.
I won't
I
listen.
won't listen. Then kill me. I can't stop you. I won't even try. Be true to your malefic destiny, Phoenix. Kill me, if you can. But if you can't, then ask yourself why. You're Dark Phoenix, power incarnate. No force in existence can stand against you. The X-Men have defied you, fought you, yet we live. Why?
You're not worth killing.
That's one answer. But there's another. True, you're Dark Phoenix, but you're also still Jean Grey. No matter how hard you try, you can't exercise that part of yourself. It's too fundamental. You can't kill us because you love us. And we love you. And by the way, there's in the sky, there's something there.
That's cool.
Dark Phoenix knows nothing of love.
Oh, for love of the X-Men, you sacrificed your life. For love of me, you resurrected yourself. For love of the whole universe, you almost died a second time to save it. Know nothing of love? Jean, you are love. Your existence, your very creation, springs from love, the noblest emotions of a human can attain. And now, you want to deny that? To deny yourself?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
No.
I hunger Scott, for a joy, a rapture, beyond all comprehension. That need is a part of me too. It consumes me.
I love this panel at the bottom. Just how again, it's like the black against the background. It's like nothing else really matters but those two in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to. Trust me. Let me help. Jean!
Oh!
Professor Xavier, what have you done?
While you distracted her, I was able to approach and mind blast Phoenix. I had no alternative.
Okay,
now stand
stop
aside
there.
at once. I do not wish you to be hurt.
Okay, take a look at that again. He says, while you distracted her, I was able to approach and mind blast who?
Phonics.
Spelling error.
Phoenix's alter ego, Phonics.
Just having fun with that, okay?
Exactly.
You heard our mentor, my love. Away with you. Meddling old fool. You have just signed your death warrant.
Friggin' awesome panel. She's shooting through the Zam.
Yeah. And then that wastes his wheelchair too.
I love it. I love the pose of like his wheelchair going flying and like the color, everything in this I think is just great.
Perhaps. Go ahead.
Go. No. It's okay.
Say, perhaps, Phoenix, but I am in part responsible for what has happened here, though it may have cost me my life. I will put it right.
Why, Professor? You sound almost guilty. As well you should. You unleash my latent telepathic ability.
ability.
You set in motion the chain of events that created first Phoenix, and then Dark Phoenix. Behold your creation, Charles Xavier. Oof. Damn. I am what was, what is, what will be, the Black Angel, Chaos Bringer. I am power.
Like a great panel, like great use of the white to create even more energy, like the absence of other things, and just him in the foreground, you know, with the black spotting or ink spotting to show his form and the weight of him. Just really, really great.
It looks amazing.
Professor X is hooked on phonics. Good one. Good one. Good one.
Good line. Power without restraint, knowledge without wisdom, age without maturity, passion without love. I must fight you, Jean. I will win.
Will you?
Will you? There you go.
The Phoenix rises. The Psi War begins. The insane young telepath versus her teacher. In a death duel between the strongest mutant minds on Earth. The struggle is epic. Waged simultaneously on all the infinite planes of existence. Right? So we get this scene in the movie, in the third one, where she pulls him out of his chair and like raises him up.
Yeah.
He fights with her. You know, it's a good scene too, except for like the, you know, Wolverine yelling, "Gene, no, Gene, don't do it." But like Xavier, the way he's pulled out of his chair and like the way he stands there, it was gripping. But anyway,
it is quite good. And then the other one is what I like about that scene too is Magneto's like incredibly helpless. Like he's kind of sitting there just watching it.
Yeah.
Which, you know, for a character of the strength of Magneto, even at that age, is pretty. It demonstrates the power that is happening at that moment.
When this happens again in Dark Phoenix, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you have a better recollection than me, like he goes to face her, and she's already at what probably should have been the Hellfire Club. If you like rearrange that movie, that Jessica Chastain plays the White Queen.
Oh yeah.
You know, and take away the alien subplot or whatever, and just make that, you know, they literally were off Central Park. It was really anyway, it was the Hellfire Club in a lot of ways. She pulls him, she walks him up the stairs. Like she pulls him out of his chair and like makes his body, she animates him against his will. And he walks up a flight of stairs in pain. Yeah, it was pretty dramatic, but like he couldn't handle her at all.
No.
Not long ago, yet for Jean, a lifetime ago, Phoenix bound a rogue neutron galaxy within a stasis field of living anti-energy, thereby preventing that ultimate black hole from destroying the entire universe. Now, in much the same way, Charles Xavier seeks to bind Dark Phoenix once more within an unbreachable network of psionic circuit breakers. The end comes suddenly. One moment, the Phoenix effect is lighting up the countryside like a small sun. Jean! The next, Jean Grey collapses to the ground like a puppet with its strings cut.
Would have lost, but I sensed Jean fighting her Phoenix self, helping me. Bless you, child. I'm so proud of you.
Jean. She's so still. I'm not even sure she's alive. I want her to live. But what if she hasn't changed? What if she's still Dark Phoenix? I love her just the same. For better, worse, richer, poor, sickness, health, till death do us part.
Hi.
Hi yourself.
If I didn't know better, I'd say those thoughts I just picked up sounded like a proposal.
They did, didn't they? What do you say, Red?
I say yes.
Hold on. She just tried to kill them all, and now they're getting married.
100%. This is the magic of love.
Well, I guess, he realized he still loves her. I think that's okay. And she looks like she's cured. Everything must be okay now, right?
You know what? I think this is all going to end. We're going to turn this page, and everything's just going to be hunky-dory, right? I mean,
yeah, nothing bad happened. We're
nothing
okay.
bad's going to happen here? All right. Stay back, Sarah. Let your father handle this.
Here, Jean, take my robe, daughter, before you catch cold.
Thanks, Dad. Oh, dear. I don't believe it. Dad is blushing.
It's because you're naked.
Angel, where did you come from?
New Mexico. The professor had me fly him up here. I get the feeling we arrived here in the proverbial nick of time.
I can still hear you through our sonic rapport, Jean. How do you feel? Are you
cured? I think so. I hope so. Thanks to the professor, I'm as cured as I'll ever be.
Xavier, what in the devil's going on here?
I'll be happy to explain, Dr. Gray. Oh, he's a doctor. But first, could I trouble you for some tea? It's been a most strenuous night.
And Wolverine's about to kill you.
Yeah.
He's lurking.
I hate doctors. Ah!
Before anyone can move, however.
Dad! John!
Good heavens, that glow.
Where'd they go?
They disappeared.
John, what does this mean?
I don't know. The X-Men seemed as surprised as they were. Seemed as surprised as we were. If some enemy, some supervillain has kidnapped them, we may never see them or Jean again. Next issue, the end of an epic, a 35-page masterwork, The Fate of the Phoenix.
It'd be like a special 2-hour episode.
Oh, yeah.
35 pages. The last time, by the way, that we, I think, had a conversation with Doctor and Mrs. Gray here was in the apartment in New York with Misty Knight. So my question is, why aren't they calling Misty Knight over to help them out?
You make a really good point. And where is her gun?
Exactly.
I didn't look. I have to go back now to see if we get any. Whoa! No!
Whoa!
Yes. Any interesting letters there?
Hmm.
Julie Saint Germain. No, it's neat. There's there's some ladies writing in. Oh, Ottawa, Ontario. Very nice.
Hmm.
The last one, Elizabeth Holden.
Mm-hmm.
Cute. That's really fun. Did you read ahead?
No.
Oh, man.
Actually, that's not true. I have this issue as well, which is the next issue, Classic X-Men, which I have read.
You have read that one. Yeah. So you've known all along where this is going.
Sure.
Curse you, Sanagan.
It's been a cloak and dagger this entire time.
I do like the idea that these things play out a certain way, and then we do get this big climax where it's like we're gonna have one last romp, and we're gonna see if we can figure this out. Very exciting. Now I gotta hold on. I'm so old. Oh my god.
Oh, the joints.
So I should bring this out next time, but I'm bringing this out this time. Have you ever seen this?
Phoenix, the Untold Story. No, I have not.
It says, featuring the original, uncensored, never before published conclusion of the saga of the Phoenix, or saga of Phoenix. By the way, signed by Terry Austin. I got mine signed.
Ooh, very nice. When did that come out?
This was published in 1983.
Oh, okay.
So this, I think, is originally what they put together. And then Jim Shooter says, no. She's got to atone for, she can't ever atone. It needs to go the way it's going to go. We all know what happens. Next issue, everyone knows something, some degree what's coming. But this is the issue this is a copy of what they originally had intended.
Wow.
Before Jim Shooter put the kibosh on it and redirected them toward a different conclusion.
So it was just a one shot then?
This is a reprinting of a lot of that issue, plus the pages that the alternative ending.
Interesting.
It is, and we will compare.
I gotta check that out, man. For sure.
We'll see that next week, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I have not opened this in decades, just decades.
Literally.
Very exciting. I like this issue a lot just because it
Yeah.
connects to so many other things that we talk about. Like it is. I still don't know exactly what Xavier did to like.
It's fuzzy.
Yes, and they say like what Phoenix did to some black hole thing. I'm like, I don't understand what any of that is, but I love this action figure. She has such a great face of evil.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. Solid.
Evil. Yes. I also love how characters like name themselves things like I'm now Dark Phoenix.
Yeah.
Before I was Phoenix, now I'm Dark Phoenix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To make it easier for you to know that I'm bad.
I'm bad. I'm Dark Phoenix.
Exactly.
I like this issue though. But the next issue is one of my absolute favorites for sure. And we have only a few more to go in the John Byrne, Chris Claremont.
Well, then what are we going to do?
John Byrne era. Well, we're going to keep reading. We're going to see what happens.
What are we going to do?
My feeling is we're already 5 years in.
We're 5 years in.
As I said to Kevin, I don't know if you caught this stat last week. I dropped a statistic on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I said that the X-Men, starting in 1980, once X-Men becomes the number one selling comic at Marvel, which it is now at the point that we're reading, it has a 17-year run of being the number one title.
Wow.
Yes. And Claremont is on the book for 16 years. But he starts, of course, 5 years earlier.
Yeah.
So it takes a few years for readers to cycle out and realize that it no longer has a direction. It's no longer the book we love, and comes down from being number one. But Claremont's on the book for 16 years, and it's the number one book for 17 years. And there's obviously the overlap is a difference of about 5 years. So
which book removes it from its perch?
Now you're asking too many questions. So we're going to say about 1997 is when that would be. And I don't know what book comes. Off the top of my head, I don't know what the number one book is in 1997. It's hard.
Daredevil with shoulder pads.
Yeah, sure. I really don't know. That's like post. Obviously, it's 5 years after the Image guys leave.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happens in 97. I was like as far from reading Marvel comics at that point as I think I have ever been.
Sure.
I have to look that one up. But that being said, if we've already done 5 years in this amount of time, like we can do twice this number of episodes in a row moving forward, and we can finish the Claremont run, I think, no problem. It will be like this whole transcendent epic thing. And we're going to get to see, after Byrne leaves, of course, Dave Cockrum comes in for round 2.
Right.
And we're going to get a nice short stint from a really good artist named Paul Smith, who will be on. We'll get round 1 of John Romita Jr. We'll get visits from Barry Windsor Smith, Art Adams, Alan Davis, Rick Leonardi, and Mark Silvestri will take over the book. And then Jim Lee will take over the book. And that's when shit hits the fan. You'll see the book go from like all these things that were set up are like kind of falling apart as he turns them from superheroes into icons. The look that he has, they go from being these kind of caricatures to being like epitome of superhero dopeness. Like they go to these massive heights in the way they're drawn. Maybe it is Deadpool. I really don't know. We can look it up another time. It's no problem. Or, you can look it up now. Whatever you choose. I just don't know what the number one book would be then in 97. But yeah, we won't probably have to read past the Jim Lee run, because once Jim Lee starts to really pull up the plotting role, Claremont and the editor are like, because the editor's like, Jim Lee's selling the books, man. 8 million copies for X-Men #1. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to get all the cred, and then Claremont leaves, and then Jim Lee leaves. They're left holding nothing, right? And so they're able to at least carry on. But that's when they do things like, in the vacuum of Lee being gone, cool artists still come on board, like Joe Maduria and Joe Mad, as they call him, and they do like Age of Apocalypse and that storyline. But those comics are beloved by many. They don't hold up to like the reading standard in terms of story, nor of storytelling. So you can read those things with a lot of nostalgia and a lot of pleasure, but they don't hold up as critically as the more traditional X-Men do. Anyway, we'll get there. But I think we can do the whole Chris Claremont run. I think it'd be
it's
epic accomplishment.
It's a goal.
Us reviewing all of his issues is almost as impressive as him writing all.
Agreed. On par.
Maybe Wolverine. Oh, Graydon James made it for the end of the show. Well, you just are then forced to have to watch the whole thing again on your own. Graydon, how are you, man? Long time no see. Speaking of road trips, I had like 4 hours in the car with that guy on Saturday, on our way up to a show and back from a show on deep into Saturday night. Graydon ate the last available bagel at a Tim Hortons in Lindsay, Ontario. And it's like, Paul Smith is great. He does just a unique version of the X-Men, and his lines are beautiful. When you like go into Tim Hortons and they've taken all of the baked goods out of the front counters and they've just put the remnants on a back thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, we have these 3 things left, like a muffin that fell on the floor, 1 Timbit, 1 plain bagel that no one wanted all day, and then that and the remainder. And from the start, for sure.
It would have been better if it was like he got the last soft shell taco at the Taco Bell, like the one that I was in the car for 4 hours.
Yeah, terrible, just terrible. But there you go. That's another episode. That's X-Men episode 45.
I know we've got to do something special for 50. I don't know, something fun. Maybe we'll just drink.
We should talk again about the ever-growing list of side episodes.
Oh, right.
Bonus episodes.
Yeah.
You know what? If we had 1,000 followers, which we don't, if we had 1,000 followers, I would say that for our Patreon subscribers, here are the bonus episodes they get. Like, the annuals, the limited series, Pride of the X-Men. Like, we would do all the side stuff. It is a good idea if we have 1,000 followers.
We need 1,000 people.
Well, we don't need 1,000, but having a Patreon account at this point would be like, hey, all 119 of you, we're going to have a side thing that now you have to pay for to get access to more episodes. And then 1 person and 2 people would do it. And we'd be like, all right,
that person is Trevor. That 1 person is
Trevor. He's probably such a good soul. He might just support us that way, but I'm not gonna. I don't think we're at the point yet where we need to have a Patreon. But that's what we would do if we were.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I listened to a podcast called Our Fake History, which is all about dispelling historical myths, and the podcaster has recently, that's become his primary gig. He's left his job and that he's doing, and he has a Patreon, and there's a whole bunch of bonus stuff as part of the Patreon. You get access to vote on things. You get to participate in a whole other way. So
I think about that a lot with our comic book making too, and how to do it. And like, you have to have basically like a weekly drop of some kind. Like we would have the online Peregrines comic, and then the Kickstarter, funds your graphic novel.
Mm-hmm.
And you have like those 2 online revenue streams. That seems like a fair way to do things when you have enough of a following. So after SPX.
Right. Once we blow up at SPX, who are these Canadian boys with these unbelievable comics?
That's a good question. I already told you at the beginning. I'm Jason. And Anyway, so thank you again for being with us. We really enjoyed going over this issue. It's a fun one, and we're glad to share this with anyone out there who's a fan of X-Men comics or Chris Claremont or comics in general. And we just really love the form and storytelling and looking back at these old issues. It's too much fun. We are going to be at SPX in a couple days. I'm going to reach out and get the comics that we make.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, if you find yourselves in the greater Bethesda, Maryland area this weekend, come to the Marriott North Hotel and Conference Center for a small press expo, because we're going to be there with these comics.
We will. We're very excited to share them with you all and get some comics of our own to bring home. Check out what other people are making. Yeah. And you can find us, of course, on all the socials at Group of 7 Comics. And, of course, the number 7 is the number. Mm-hmm. And you can find us on our website at www.group7comics.ca. Again, 7 is the number, not the word. And then you've been Chris Sanagan on all the socials, and I'm Jason Lapidus Art on the Instagram. And Trevor says he would. It'd be $950 a month. Pretty much, yeah. That's US, by the way. $950 US. Saturday comic style 3-panel, yeah, like a strip. That'd be fun, or 4-panel, or whatever it would be. But yeah, like one a week, be kind of fun to do. Yeah, totally. So again, thanks guys for hanging out with us. It's always good to have you in the chat and to share ideas and critique the spelling
of phonics
of X-Men comics. It's good fun. Anything else you want to talk about there, Chris?
No, I think we're good.
Well, then that leaves us next week with X-Men 137.
Yes.
And classic X-Men 43. Yeah. My goodness. Now that's a John Byrne cover on that, isn't it? Unusual. That's his first. That's his first classic X-Men cover. Makes you wonder if that was originally a backup cover, like an unused one for something else.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't imagine him doing classic X-Men covers normally, so that's pretty cool. Other than that, I'm going to go have some ice cream.
It's a wonderful idea.
My buddy Graydon here, we were in Bobcaygeon, home of the Kawartha Dairy.
Mm-hmm.
And Graydon at our show in Bobcaygeon, he got to walk over and drive over to the Kawartha Dairy. And he got us, a giant cone and ate it like a little kid in front of the rest of us who were not eating ice cream. And I've been hankering for Kawartha Dairy ever since Saturday night. So I begged my wife to go pick some up on our way home from work. So
which one did you pick up?
Well, for the whole family, for Moose Tracks, buddy.
Moose Tracks, yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna go eat too much Moose Tracks and watch some YouTube stuff.
Cool, man.
All right. I'm calling it. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Hope you enjoyed the show. Click like and subscribe to the channel. Share with your friends. We can use all the support we can get. And we'll see you next time on Previously in X-Men. I'll talk to you.